It's 5:30. I don't even know what day it is.
The 16th. Monday.
16th?
16.
Okay. Yep. All the commission members are in attendance. This is a work session pertaining to our land use plan. We're gonna cover chapter 5 tonight. So with that, let's proceed on. Growth management area is the heading.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, we do have one comment as it relates to Chapter 5 to have some conversation about, and that was related to should we have a discussion in here as a result of apparently in 1980s there was an agreement on how far south the city of Casper would grow. Unfortunately, we can't put our fingers on that very agreement. Don't know if it was a handshake or wasn't memorialized, so we really don't have that agreement in our hands, so we have offered not to include it into this land use plan. Realistically, the growth of the city of Casper southward is limited by elevation when it comes to the water systems that are in there, and of course as the water system grows, then that growth also follows that. Annexation is not driven by the city of Casper, it's by the property owners as they want to be annexed. So we don't see any reason to put that in there, but we leave it up to debate for you guys to add to it.
Now, I thought I saw that somewhere in here, wasn't that?
In the utility section in the front end of it, we talked about that approximate elevation and that it was limited by water pressure.
Oh, I thought I here was the talk about not growing past a certain spot over the mountains. Maybe I was remembering the other thing. But the water thing makes sense. That sewer.
There was also a comment about the Sandy Lakes Estates area. Which growth boundary does that lie within? And it lies within the Evansville growth boundary. That's Sandy Lakes is off of Coal Creek Road to the west of Coal Creek.
Do we have an agreement with Evansville on that, or?
We don't, the county doesn't make really the agreements, it's between other municipalities. I think Evansville and Casper have one, as far as their limits go.
The same Mills and Casper have one.
Mm-hmm.
Was there any other comments that were germane to chapter 5?
Not that I have here. There was, one, I needed, it was from Steve Kurtz, and on page 5, in yours of Steve's, he has a comment on the top. And
You like this? Would you like this one?
yeah, if I could.
Sure. I went through it.
Sorry, I don't have that.
No, that's fine. You can just. Because I noticed that some of the comments that were in here that he'd made and you'd initialed and all hadn't made it to this.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, so on here he has page 5-5, the first paragraph. It says this calculation indicates a hard demand for about 2,300 acres of new residential land between 2013 and 2040. The next sentence says that 1.5 times the hard land demand, the land use plan should designate about 3,450 acres of possible residential development over the coming years. His question is, it says 2010 to 2040 and not 2013. And so, and he has a question mark on that, and I did not address that one. Yeah, it says 20.
I've got 2013.
I have between 2013
So
and
do I.
2040.
So do I, and that's, I
Oh,
just.
did he say 20? Oh,
He's,
and he
yeah,
said
he says 20,
2014.
he says 2010
Oh,
to 2040 and not 2013, but I just wanted, sorry, to see if anybody else caught what he was talking about,
That
because I
appears
did
on
not.
on the previous, I think he wants consistency. On the previous page, 5-4, halfway down, just before residential land needs, it gives 2010 and 2040.
Yeah.
So I
Okay.
think he just wants to be consistent.
well, and they were talking here about 2010 to 2040. And it may,
Okay.
in that study, I think they were talking at that time, and so this probably should read 2010. Don't you think?
To be consistent,
Yeah, or change the other one, but it says the population estimates for 2014 are not available at the time of this draft, as the footnote. But that doesn't make any sense if they said that then, and they've got, their calculations were based on 2010 to 2040.
Yeah, that footnote should come off.
Yeah,
Okay.
and make this 2010.
I've got one on 5-1. Very first sentence.
let me finish this one. Okay,
This is picky, but it's really redundant when you say the growth management area addresses growth and land use. I just cross out growth and, the growth management area addresses land use. That's picky, it's just, and then the last sentence, I think it must be, when you say much of the incorporated area is served by on-site sewage disposal systems, shouldn't it be much of the unincorporated area
Mine says unincorporated.
down here?
Oh.
The one that says incorporated. Other than
Incorporated, oh, you're right, okay. Yeah, it should be unincorporated, yeah, U in instead of.
And I,
Industries?
no, but it's always been my vision. I wanted to wear tweeds, smoke a pipe, wear a jacket with these elbow patches, and teach impressionable freshmen while smoking my pipe. Anyway,
You must have been on some good stuff.
5-2, it's the figures. This first figure, you've got 5A. This first figure should, and on the next page, this is 5-3. It should be figure 5,
okay,
okay? And the next one should be 5A.
okay.
But, and then you go to 5.15, that's a little inconsistent, but that's all right.
Okay.
And I had problems with, on 5.2, second paragraph from the bottom. The plan and the process are established. This is due in part to lack of growth and minimal contact from growth pressure over the last 10 years.
Conflict.
What? What does that mean?
It says minimum conflict, not contact.
Whatever, minimal conflict. What does that sentence mean? I don't, just didn't seem very plain to me. You know, what plan? You know, when we're talking about the development plan, then if it is, you should say the development plan and the process are established. If that's the plan that's being referred to.
Yeah, but we're under the growth boundaries.
When all else fails, I just delete that.
Yeah, I would.
Yeah, that might not be a bad idea.
Agree with that. It's not really adding much to it, is it?
It just adds.
Now, and I got a problem with the wording in the paragraph above there. It says the agreement requires that each municipality will annex plans, will annex land. Shouldn't that mean can? The agreement, well, requires doesn't work. See what I'm saying? The agreement requires that each municipality will annex lands only within the procedural outlines in the state statute. I guess that's all right. I don't know.
talking about that anyway. It
Just-
said
just-
before,
just-
cause annexation is the desire of the people, and they go to the city. Doesn't have anything to do with us.
I think it's just to show if you live in a certain section of the county.
Wait a minute, that statement's not quite true. The city can annex you whether you wanna be annexed or not.
Correct.
They never have, but they could.
They could, that's correct.
They've never in the past
Yeah,
20 or 30 some years, they've never had a forced.
Forced
I
in
think Paradise Valley was forced, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Was Paradise.
Yeah.
Well, the will, I mean, implied to me that, you know, it will happen. I mean, there's no other way, rather than saying the agreement requires that each municipality can annex land if they want to. I don't know. It's not a big deal. The last paragraph, the agreement requires annexation of lands within the gross area. Does that really mean require, or allows for annexation of lands within the growth area?
The agreement provides for.
If you go back up to that line that you were talking about in that other paragraph, Jim, it's requires, as to state statute.
And as far as this figure, now it's gonna be figure 5 rather than 5A.
We don't have any other figure in there, do we?
There's a bunch of them there, but
Oh, is there for 5?
I'm just saying 5 should come before 5A. It should, the next figure should be 5A instead of, I'm saying 5. But anyway, the bar none growth boundary and the mills growth boundary, technically they should be the bar none growth area and the mills growth area, because the boundary is a line, and if you're gonna put boundary in there, you should draw little arrows to, you know, that red line up there and that, and there's nothing here that delineates the Casper growth boundary. I'm inferring that somehow it's gonna be all that area to the south of the red and to the south of I-25.
It's anything that's not bounded within the other.
Yeah, but the Evansville growth boundary, it's kind of vague.
They are vague, and these are boundaries that we don't describe, these are within their
Now, I thought
documents.
there was a squabble between the city and Evansville over boundaries, and it went to court and got settled.
Yeah,
And in my, what I remember is anything north of I-25 is gonna be Evansville, and anything south would be
Yes.
Caspers.
Yes,
I think this little
So-
line is the growth boundary right here.
it runs along the interstate.
They
Right.
haven't
Well,
finally settled that yet, still, I
But
understand.
there's a little line up here on your
Still holding
map.
out.
Is that the west area of the growth boundary?
Yes,
Okay, maybe could be a little bit better explained, I don't know.
and that's, you know, that's the hard part with these, is we don't make up the boundaries, I can only provide what they have mapped. These are their own mapped boundaries as per their agreements.
Yeah.
And a lot of these boundaries that we get from them are actually exhibits in that agreement with them. So we take,
I'm just, as far as clarity of the map, that's all, I'm just wondering where that Evansville growth boundary is, and then I guess it assumes it's this kind of olive line that jogs up this
yeah,
way,
and then it's along the,
and then down here.
yeah.
And I wonder just you could do that by, you know, just
Arrows?
growth boundary, yeah. I guess Casper's all applied, so.
Well, it's color coded over here on the side, so. Poor Edgerton is included.
Another thing, are these grid marked section lines?
Yes.
Now, are we on 5-6?
Did anybody have any on 5-3?
Well, just one question, the two, on 5.3 is the third sort of bullet point down. It says the 201 regional sewer agreement. Is that a date or is that just a number that,
It's the United States code.
is that what that is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Generally known as 201.
Okay.
So you could just put in before that, then where it first crops up, you could say the US Code 201 Regional Sewer Agreement. Because other people are gonna be
Well, what they
asking
do
the
in
same.
courts is they usually use the U, capital U dot S, and it's got the little squiggly behind it.
Oh, yeah.
That way you understand that it's US code.
US code. Or just say USC. Okay.
As you go through, holler out what page you wanna.
On 5-6, 5-6, the plan proposal uses the word neighborhood for the first time. But neighborhood is not defined, it's carefully defined under 510 on the next page. So, I'm questioning, the word neighborhood is not defined here on page 5-6, so I just say section 510 outlines the development plan within the growth area.
So under the table where it says the plan proposal, section 5.10, is that what you're talking
Yeah,
about?
I just cross out, I would say the 510 outlines the development plan within the growth area, management area, because you haven't defined what a neighborhood is, and you've got a specific definition for that. And then I take out on the next paragraph, the first two sentences. Because again, you're referring to neighborhood without a definition. And then we're okay, because you get into neighborhoods under 510 on 5.8, and that's good. I mean, then everybody knows what a neighborhood is for the first time. But, I don't know. Is it worth, in your terms of definition at the end, to stick with neighborhood and say just exactly what you mean by that? Because it could mean a lot of things to different people.
I don't think it's defined, is it?
So it could come in, you know, right after Natrona County Conservation District, you could put a definition for neighborhood. And then continuing on 5.8.
I didn't see, where is neighborhood defined?
Well, it's mentioned for the first time.
510.
Oh,
under
the whole,
510.
under 510 completely, right, okay. Specific designation, not a specific one over.
Location, size, access.
Right.
But then on the third bullet point, it says, typically neighborhoods are accessed from the perimeter. How else would you access the neighborhood? I guess if I went out my front door, I'd access my neighborhood.
You had to get there somehow though. You just didn't show up there.
I don't
You wanna remove that line?
know. Maybe it means something that I don't know the meaning of, so. Yeah.
I can definitely tell you it needs to be put in your land use plan as a explanation some point. Definition.
Yeah. I think so.
see, the more times you look at this, the more times you know, I mean, we've all reviewed this multiple times. And every time you look at it, you find a new improvement.
Speaking of on 5.7, we already talked about the water availability, page 5.7. But I know the city's in the process of doing that zone 3 that's gonna open up a lot of that area south of Wyoming Boulevard, over there by McKinley Street. That probably ought to be, that's a pretty big deal.
Double check those elevations there with that
Yeah,
Excel.
it's kind of a big deal though, I mean, it's gonna open up
Well,
1,000 acres or more, and it's a big deal.
Allendale
Yeah,
in there?
yeah.
Are they?
But that's the
Double check
city
with the
though, isn't
city.
it?
On what? I don't understand.
On this one,
It is a city, but it's gonna affect, a
50.
lot of unincorporated areas. in
So
that
it,
neighborhood.
it could be higher than 57.
South of Wyoming Boulevard, like south of the country club, that's all gonna be
That's not
serviceable
gonna be
now.
affected.
Huh?
That's been set up in such a way that I don't think that'll ever be developed.
Mm-hmm.
There's a conservancy up there.
Yes.
Well, if you
Well,
go
that's
farther
expired.
south,
Been there.
there is some area where Country Club Road, between Outer Drive and the Country Club, that area directly south of that,
Outer Drive and the Country Club, between them,
the Country Club's out here, Outer Drive,
In
and their
front.
Country Club Road, that brand new road they built through there,
okay,
there is some development area to the south of Country Club Road
Mhm.
that's currently county.
Currently unavailable for water.
Yeah, and
is the
in that
problem.
area, east of McKinley Street, this extension, that would open that up too. Gallus is back up in there.
But it's probably under, does he think it's above or below the 5,700?
It's about, I think it's,
I think it's almost gotta be above that, because they can't get water to some of that where they're building now. That hill right where you turn off the Country Club Road, or off the belt onto the new Country Club Road, that hill right on that corner, they can't get water to it. It's subdivided already, but they can't get water up to there.
and it's also that area south of where Kingsbury Country Club, that area is gonna open up as well.
That's
They're
what
gonna
we-
put another
space in there that
tank or
should've been
something up
infill
above,
in
higher
there.
up
yeah,
on
but
the
that's all
hill.
gonna all end up city though.
Yep.
Mhm.
You know,
Good point, Hollow. We'll check with the city and make sure that there's some language in there about that next phase water line.
On that water availability paragraph that you're referring to, I would say rather than in above 5,500 feet in other areas near Casper Mountain, because 5,500 feet is just the high point of Wyoming Boulevard, and I don't think that's on Casper Mountain. So it's just, you know, Casper Public Utilities can't provide service to homes above 5,700 feet along Casper Mountain Road and above 5,500 in other areas near Casper Mountain. Because I don't think anybody would be at an elevation of 5,500 feet in this town and say, I'm on Casper Mountain.
I don't know where those lines would be, 55, 5,700.
One suggestion on these is one for Google Earth photos. Would it be difficult to actually put under each one of, I'm here at the first one where it says neighborhood 1-4. I mean, I know you define neighborhood 1-4 in the text, but would it be too much actually to put those numbers on these aerial photos? See what I'm saying?
Well,
Under airport, you know from the previous one,
Yeah, those are hard to,
I guess airport is what, 40?
40,
Would it be too hard on each one of these aerial photos, underneath the name of that neighborhood, to put the number?
or 1. It's number one, I think, is the airport.
Oh, okay, whatever it is.
Figure five
Yeah,
one.
I do.
Yours must be different, cause ours does.
One. No, I'm talking about
No.
He
these.
wants them actually under where it says airport, he wants it to say,
If
It wants
airport
it
is
in
one,
the map itself.
put a one under that
Okay.
and put the
See where it says
corresponding numbers.
airport?
Okay,
That's a neighborhood,
That's neighborhood one.
so that would, you would put airport and
One
put
on it,
neighborhood
okay.
one.
Yeah, just put the number, a corresponding
I
number
think
of the
they're saying
neighborhood
it.
under it.
This is a picture of neighborhoods 1 through 4,
Right.
what they're saying.
Yeah,
Right,
but
okay.
where's 1 through 4? See, I'm leafing through there, I gotta go way back.
You always
So I
gotta go
would
back
just-
to this thing.
I would just label, I would put a number under each one of these. Not hard to do, I wouldn't think. Although technically speaking, you're saying neighborhood 1 to 4, but you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 in here.
Yeah,
Anyway,
it
the
does make
number under each one of those would maybe avoid a little confusion.
what, this to me tells me that this is all neighborhood 13, the whole page,
It's not though.
you know?
Yeah, that's right, it's multiple.
Well, and see,
neighborhoods.
actually, neighborhood 5 is included in the picture.
Oh, there's a bunch of other
Okay,
ones too.
yeah.
the way I did those
Parcel.
maps is took the ones that were closer in pages, as far as 1 through 4, they're gonna be on page 5-3 or whatever it is. There might be more included, or there might be some cut out
But
because
these are the
they
full
don't fit.
Okay.
pictures.
Those are the 4 that were within the same
Sure.
figure.
Yeah.
So.
We're not
instead of having
criticizing
you-
how you did that part.
No, I'm just trying to explain
Yeah.
how I did it so that you guys didn't think I was just
No, no.
making you
And-
look and dig.
But
You
you,
were.
you understand what he's saying, we need to take and define the 4 that are on the page.
Yeah,
You make it a little clearer.
a little easier to understand.
Or all of them, then you don't have to keep, I don't know how you're printing these off, but just put the corporate, the
You're saving
appropriate
money,
number
you're
on
trying
all
to
of them.
print any at all.
Okay, we hear you loud and clear, we'll put the numbers after the name.
So this is your map, or is this,
We generated this map.
did you?
Trish's
Mm-hmm.
own, and believe me, this is a vast improvement over what was in the old land plan. You can actually see where the boundaries are.
I'd like to talk to you after the meeting, Trish. I routed in some of that
Really,
stuff,
you
that's
got
kinda cool.
all that in there.
These are great maps,
They really are, they really are.
great photos. I'm assuming these are satellite, I think.
Yeah, they're 2015 flight.
Yeah. Matter of fact, September 17th, 2015.
Is this Google Earth?
No. There
This
are,
is
there's,
GIS?
yes,
They're yours?
yes.
They're not?
Those aren't Google.
Oh, where are they from? Who's it provided?
We go in with the city of the Casper and other entities to get the flights done.
They're on your
Wow.
website, aren't
Yes.
they?
These are fantastic. Well, they're nice photos, I don't have anything.
Okay. Here you go, Tom, and figure 5-12. Runs into our conversation we were having earlier.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you mean highlighting the ones that
No,
you're talking about?
we were showing where we were having a conversation before the meeting on which areas
Oh, we're
east, east of Robertson Road were annexed and which ones were not.
Yeah, it's right there, yeah.
Wow.
So obviously the gray shaded there is City of Casper, and then those remaining neighborhoods are What's County.
That's interesting, I thought they had encompassed that trailer camp around
I don't know if they ever will.
Just getting all
Now, that's funny, there's a chunk right there,
No, it's just really hot.
right off the river bridge, you see that in Monmouth City?
Yeah.
There's a slot through there, that must be where their water lines and stuff
It is.
run through sewer.
That,
It's right there.
yeah.
Yeah,
And they brought it in and left the other river
Yeah.
out.
Yep.
they have a spot zone there, we could get after them. They
Well, all
stuck us
three,
with a spot zone.
all four of these here.
So,
All four
Al,
of
if you
these
look on
parcels.
it's 513,
Yeah.
you can see what your,
Yeah, the water line about goes across that whole page.
We're looking to put that tank up there by that cell tower right there at the top of it.
Or it's scenic.
Or, I thought they were just gonna run it up the hill from where those two tanks were.
No, it has to have another tank up there for that separate zone.
Oh, they're gonna be way back down here. Really?
Those other tanks are
The
there.
other tanks, you see, I thought somebody told me that they were just gonna run another tank right back up on this top of this hill. It's
It
gonna
has to
be way
be.
back over here.
It has to be quite a bit higher,
Really?
It's gonna provide a lot of water
150 feet higher or something like that.
in that
Wow,
whole
that's gonna cover this whole area then, isn't it?
yeah.
Yeah.
This whole thing.
McKinley Street and then back over to Casper Mountain Road. There'll be some good opportunities for water in and out.
that coming clear back. So the long-term plan for, what is the
That water
Metropolitan
line's
Planning
connected right
Authority?
here.
Is MTA?
Going up, or actually it's going across one,
Look down this center road.
it's gonna go across Country Club. It's gonna come up here and it's gonna come.
Receives federal
Up here.
funds, and that's what creates it.
Really?
Yeah,
Of which everybody's a member of.
yeah, I think right here.
There was a question, that long-term plan, for 2040.
That water's gonna be-
meeting and field
That's gonna
service.
open it up, so it can get water.
Features,
Now it can. That's gonna make it,
Well, and that's gonna cover
So,
clear back up in here too.
I don't know how much up there it can go, but I know this
Well,
in here
this
was
is
gonna
that
open
other-
up.
Yeah,
This
Mills,
this whole area here is
it's the closest one's gonna have any access.
that draw.
And generally, the city wants you to have
Mills is,
50 pounds of pressure minimum,
that's all Mills.
so that means you have to be, however tall that tank is, you can, 50 pounds is like
Westbound Loop,
20.
right here, so as Mills grows older,
No, no,
it's
no,
gonna
no.
be more close.
50 pounds is 2.3, it's like 100, 2.3 times 50, whatever that is. That's as high as you can be.
It's 15.
Oh, that'll be city for, before.
115 feet,
Below that.
the highest it can be is 115 feet below that.
Still, that's gonna cover a lot of this. Let's do all of this. We'll start up
Anything
there.
else, Jim?
I sure don't. The rest of it is,
So, I guess I got an overall question, knowing that you're doing the maps, who's writing this, is that, KLJ? That's all Trish, huh?
All Trish's.
So what's all this stuff KLJ did? I thought they were,
They just provided an update for the front end stuff, and then they also looked at, the commissioners called them focus areas, and we took that information and incorporated into the neighborhoods here.
okay, I thought this was KLJ writing all this
No,
stuff.
no,
Lot of
lots of
money.
hours by Trish.
It's a lot of money for 3 pages of just fluff.
I expect an autographed first edition.
Yes.
I never wanna see
Yeah,
this
really.
again.
You redo
You wanna give it to him now?
Yeah, and as you go through the other pages, I think it would be helpful, because you talk about, let's just say neighborhood 12, figure 5-4. That would be great if it was on the picture.
Yeah, that was,
When you're here, you're talking about, I just picked one, it says neighborhood 12. Can they figure 5.4? Well, when you look at 5.4, then you gotta look at the front page to figure out which one it is. And so if it was on these pictures, we talked about that, you're gonna do that.
Yeah, we're gonna do that.
That would be very helpful with these other things.
Okay.
Just as a side note, I wasn't here when we went through the KLJ process, but they did receive some quotes on updating this entire document if we were to hire a consultant, like what was done in 1998. And what were some of those values, Trick?
Like 140,000.
Is what that was gonna cost to outsource it, and we elected not to outsource it and to do it in-house.
And how much was
For a whole
that?
lot cheaper, let me tell ya.
67,000?
No, it was a hundred and
No, I mean, isn't that what your final bill on it was, 67,000 for 4 pages of fluff?
No, they provided a document with all their stuff. I only used portions of it on the stuff that they actually updated, like the economic portions and things like that. The rest,
Yeah, I saw their PowerPoint, I put one together myself in about a week.
yeah, so this was the actual document that they had done, providing all the information. So,
Well, I guess we move on to section 6 next meeting, huh?
Yep, that's what we advertised with 6 and 7 for the
Okay.
next meeting.
Can I ask a couple questions?
Certainly can.
one too.
Okay, not to take us off subject or anything, Wolf Creek Road, over there off of CY Avenue, Dick Bison built that road. And I don't know what happened, how it got annexed without his permission. That was his private road, he built that. Does anybody know what happened with that,
It's not
or if
annexed
they
yet.
spoke to him, or?
They've been talking, the city and the county have been, actually worked on a report for that. Last I heard, the city and county were still talking about, the county, doesn't wanna maintain that road anymore, and it's getting more and more use because of all that Wolf Creek.
Yeah, because
development and
Tyler's got
everything.
that little subdivision that's right there too.
So the idea was that the county was gonna improve the road and then deed it over to the city for the city to own, operate, and maintain in the future. But it had to be improved first before the city was gonna accept it. So there's talks, but I don't know where the
Well,
county's
'cause
gonna
I
get the money.
thought, I had breakfast with Dick Bison Sunday, and he said he hadn't heard anything from either the city or the county. And by all rights, it's his road, and somebody should be either offering him a few bucks for the damn thing, or at least contacting him.
I think the ownership is with Natrona County, not with Dick Bison.
No, that's Dick's property. I looked at his lines and stuff, it's his. In fact, he can remember building it with his buddy in 1951. I don't know, I'm just curious, it might be something you guys wanna look into.
Actually,
Because,
there was a plat prepared for, it's probably here at the courthouse. I'm pretty sure that was signed over.
he never signed anything.
Well, I don't remember him owning anything from the part I did. I know there was some dispute about what he owned.
If you could find out what it is so I can talk to him and tell him what the deal is on it. Okay? That's what I'm asking. Cause he's being told that he can't park his cars on the road. When he has signs out there for anything, they're being ripped down. It feels like he's kind of being run out because he is a little junkyard that's over there and they don't really like it and tough shit, his grandfather. But, I think somebody ought to approach him and make sure that he feels at ease at least. See what I'm saying?
I do.
Just visit with him and let him know what's going on so that he doesn't feel like, he's being kicked around. And also, there's a property and it's owned by Karst. Okay, and they're another grandfathered outfit too, and I noticed a lady at one of these meetings that I went to over here at the Ag Building, she was complaining about his pipe yard. He's been there since 1952.
Can't do anything.
Where's he?
That's been
Okay.
complained about since
Where's that?
forever. It's on 10 Mile.
Yeah, he's on 10 Mile. Anyway, what's the plans with that? You guys gonna
That's a
keep
zone
bugging
that
him, or
should
you gonna
never-
leave him
that's a
alone, or?
spot zone that should never have happened.
We don't have any conversations going on with that
Okay, so you're not gonna bother them then?
We don't,
Okay, cool.
and we're not aware of any.
These old guys
conversations
love
that-
me, guys,
that
you know
advise
that, they tell me all of their woes, so,
That's what I'm
yeah, and the gal
His
next,
grandfather did.
yeah, and that's, I think that's what he wanted to hear.
That's been custom discussed before, and everybody just went. And there's one right next to it that tried to get out of hand, and that one got shut down. That big tin building that's out there. What that was proposed and what was going on out there was two different things, and that got shut down.
Wasn't they removing asbestos or something in there?
Well, they were doing what they weren't permitted for, way back when. Then Snuffy Smith moved in on the hill out there, that's another one.
Well, you got one in Edgerton too. That every time you drive out there, I go with my husband in the truck all the time. And he keeps growing and growing and growing and growing. And I
Up on
don't
the
see,
hill?
I don't see them making them put him, we'll burn them up or get a CUP going or.
Are you talking about Chapman Trucking that's on the eastern boundary of
Oh, I
Edgerton?
don't know. I'm usually just in the truck driving with Dana and I'm pointing him out. Look, 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 look. You know.
Is it
'cause-
right off the highway, or is it back?
yeah, no, it's on the highway.
If you could tell us where it's at,
In
surely
fact,
do
I got
some-
pictures. Maybe that'll help you. I'll
Yes.
go ahead and print the
Email them
pictures out.
pictures and we'll
I'll
let you
email
know.
them to you,
Yep.
Jason, because I
Yep.
took pictures when I was out there last time.
No problem.
So the guys that are grandfathered from 1952 are gonna be okay everywhere?
According to state statute, yes.
Okay, that's what I needed to get. Thank you.
Now, can I ask a question?
You certainly can.
Okay, I'm assuming Larkspur is 512. Is that right?
Neighborhood 12?
Neighborhood 12?
They're in figure 5-12, and then if you go to figure, let's see, hang on here. They are in here as neighborhood 22.
Okay, so we're still safe with county, right?
I take that back, wait a minute. South Robertson Road and Riverbend. Yeah. Yep, that was one of the neighborhoods that we looked at and there was just no need for change.
Perfect, okay.
That's not to say if the property owners want to annex, I mean, that's their call.
Yeah, that's the only change I can see as far as that would be,
Larkspur's
is
it.
if there was ever a possibility for annexation.
Larkspur's on,
Excellent, thank you.
is in Paradise Valley.
No, it's in the
It's
county.
down close to the
Yeah,
Oh,
river.
yeah, but I mean,
On
on
the
the
river.
river, I
Paradise
think.
Valley side,
Yeah.
about to get flooded.
I think we all are getting flooded, man. My geese are out there just.
I'm lost here.
I think Larkspur's back down in this area.
Is that Dempsey Acres area?
No,
No.
Paradise Valley.
Rivers
Bend.
See
Okay.
this, yeah, the
Rivers Bend.
city,
So you know where
in my
Robertson-
mind, screwed
Okay,
this
you know
up.
where Robertson Road's at?
Right.
Okay, here is the,
All that in.
here's the grade school.
I see this.
Okay, and you go along up here, and then you know where the trail court's at. So then when you get this square, it's across the road.
Oh, Larkspur's at the only corner of,
Yeah.
that's
That's
okay.
the only way you can
I
access.
see your Paradise
Dirt roads.
Yeah.
Predominantly,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
That's
you-
off from Robertson Road,
Yeah.
winds around here.
Yeah, it is a beautiful area.
Well, if we don't have anything else.
I do
guess-
have one quick question if I could. Would it be easier when viewing these maps to have one neighborhood per map? So like if you're looking at the airport, zoom into the airport, or do you think it's okay the way it is with
Multiple neighborhoods.
multiple neighborhoods? Would you rather see a more detailed view of it? Do you have a preference or do you care?
That'd be umpteen.
A lot of pages.
Yeah,
I think if they were
If they
numbered,
were designated like.
and
we
I
were
think
talking
it also,
about.
like this map here helps to see,
Yeah.
here's the
It's
city of
surrounding
Casper,
property.
how'd they do in the middle, you know, why'd they leave us these?
I think the context is important.
Yeah, yeah,
When you've got it.
if they were,
Yeah, I didn't have
if
any
the
problem.
numbers were on it,
Once I
that,
figured out how to
Yeah.
interpret it, I didn't have any problems. You just had to flip back
you
and
just
forth.
have to flip back and forth, so if those
Okay.
numbers were on it, then you could see the surrounding areas, yeah, you could see this one here.
Alrighty, that's all I have.
Okay, we can quit.